Everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 142. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat and the conversation if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on all the fun, but if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube, Jesus, and podcast services the very next week, or it's put out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. Solo episode today. Hey, how's it going? Flying solo today, and we're going to be talking a whole lot of video games. So, let's get right on into topic one. I want to talk about the year of game releases that we've had so far in 2022. Ones that have stuck out to me, and some upcoming games that I'm excited and looking forward to playing. At the end of last year, Jeff Reg, shout out to Jeff Reg on Twitch and Jeff Reg Gaming on YouTube. Jeff and I kind of broke down our game of the year, whether it was games that actually released in that year and then personal ones that we had just played a lot that year. And I hope to do the same down the road, whether it's with Jeff or if it's just me. But we're a little past the halfway point, but I kind of wanted to look back at what has come out and, like I said, talk about what's down the road, because there are a lot of games coming up that I'm looking forward to, and see how they kind of play out down the road in December, January, when we have this discussion again. But I just love playing games. I wish I had more time to play games, to be honest, don't we all? And yeah, it's just, they're a lot of fun, and they're great experiences. So I just want to chat about what I've experienced so far in 2022. Jesus Christ. So let's get on into it. So January, what did we have that was interesting? And by interesting, I mean that was, to me, that called out. Obviously, there's a lot of games here that I haven't played that may tickle your fancy, but did not mine. So we'll just go month by month. So the ones that I had played, let's see, Spelunky 2, Nobody Saves the World. Yeah, let's see. Windjammers 2 came out. Forgot about that game. Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. Okay, so not too much personally for me in January. I will say Spelunky 2, playing it a little bit. Spelunky and Spelunky 2 are interesting games to me in that I want to play them more, but boy do I suck at them. The idea of, the death and then repeat the randomly generated dungeon isn't a foreign concept. Obviously, we've talked about Hades a lot on the stream and on the podcast, and how I love that game. And essentially, obviously, it's the same thing. I think it's just the not no mercy, but like Spelunky and Spelunky 2, if you fuck up, you're dead immediately. There's not a lot of leniency per se that I feel like a Hades has and some other roguelites. And when I've attempted to play these, it's very difficult. And like the learning curve is steep too, maybe just from my experience, but there's not a lot of explanation. It's trial and error. Oh, this enemy does this thing, or this triggers this trap that does this thing. And you kind of have to learn quickly. And if you don't learn quickly and efficiently enough, obviously you're not going to get very far in this Dungeon Explorer. So, similar to my experience with Spelunky 1, Spelunky 2, played it for a little while. I think I played it a little bit more than the first. I did enjoy it, but it's one of those games I feel like I need to be way more patient with and be okay with dying, which sounds weird, but that's the point of the game. Live and learn, or die and learn, rather. And Spelunky 2 is one of those where I need to go back, I need to spend some time and see if I can enjoy it. I definitely have enjoyed watching people play it. Shout out to some streamers, Chilled Chaos, Cheesy Blue Nips, Shovel, and Speedy. I watched them play it over this past year and watching them, the four of them have a blast with it, sharing some laughs. Obviously, the chaos that did ensue was a lot of fun and very entertaining. Maybe if I try it again, I'll get that experience, or maybe I just gotta watch people play it. I don't know. But Spelunky, shout out to them. Does seem fun. Obviously, they have their cult crowd. Sounds a little weird, but they have their fans there. Pokemon Legends Arceus was kind of a surprise to me. Obviously, a lot of people were clamoring for this game. I wasn't sure if I was going to get into Arceus. We actually talked about it last stream a little bit. But I fell in love with it. Surprising enough, because I didn't like the Pokemon Go style of the games where battles were limited and, you know, you couldn't really do a whole lot in terms of training there. It was just like catch, repeat, catch, repeat, catch, repeat. And Arceus has this kind of nice mixture. I feel like there's battles in Arceus, but it's been a while. It was this more of like just exploration, and it wasn't yellow version, but only catching mode. Because, I mean, yellow version and others we had already played, and it was like, I think I was looking for more of like a remaster of that experience. And I know Fire Red, Leaf Green on the Game Boy Advance, we had already gotten that, but I think I was with Pokemon Go, or yeah, not Pokemon Go, sorry, not the mobile game. Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. I was hoping for like this reimagining, this re-upped version, this remaster of those beginning games, the red, blue, and the yellow. And when it wasn't that, in terms of gameplay, I wasn't happy, because the rest of it looked beautiful. Like, you're still going through all the towns, Pallet, Pewter, Cerulean, you know, you're going through all the towns, you're dealing with Jesse and James and the Team Rocket. It looked great, but then when it comes down to it, 99% of your gameplay is just chucking Pokeballs and catching 1,000 Caterpies. Like, that to me didn't seem fun. And maybe it was what Arceus did in its gameplay, where it was original, you know, an original story and built for that. Maybe that kind of tricked my brain into enjoying that a little bit more. I did enjoy the challenge with the different, like the space-time rifts, and that's where the more difficult or more rare Pokemon show up. That made that exciting. Obviously, shinies were a lot easier to capture, as Rainbow had said last week. A little bit enticing, but it was a fun game. I still actually need to finish it. I think I'm towards the tail end of it, but that was a good time. Didn't expect to jump headfirst into that, but definitely put a lot of hours into it when I finally did give it a chance. So good one there. And I think the last one for January that I got to give a shout out to is Nobody Saves the World. Shout out to 61 Indie for recommending this indie title. Was fantastic. Fantastic story and fun game to play. Played a little bit on stream, and then pretty much the rest of it was off stream. But that was a lot of fun. Playing with the different classes that you could level up, whether it was something, you know, as silly as a mouse or a horse, or you get, you know, the more, I guess, traditional characters like a knight, or your the vampire mermaid thing. Like, it was goofy in a way that that developer has made their games, but it was a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. I want to go for the platinum in it, but boy, are those dungeons a lot harder with their like amped up modes in New Game Plus. But yeah. So what did February give us? Let's see. Dying Light 2 I did not try. Did enjoy Dying Light 1 quite a bit. Life is Strange Remastered, like the originals, or originals when they released. That was great. Ollie Ollie World I've tried recently. I'm not going to say I love it, but it's growing on me. I was expecting a little bit more when I originally had bought it. I was expecting a little bit more like a Tony Hawk, where it's, you know, open world-esque, or at least free roam, do the tricks, all that jazz. But the way they present it here is it's a 2D just sheet, platform, screen, whatever you want to call it, and you go from point to point and you're doing tricks along the way. It is fun. It's definitely a lot to kind of pick up on and comprehend with the motion of the analog stick for your tricks. I feel like maybe if you enjoyed Skate, you'd enjoy this game, because obviously Skate allowed for a lot of freedom and had a lot of movement for its tricks and combinations and combos and whatnot. I am enjoying it, but it's one of those games where I play it a little bit here and there, and I wonder if I invested more time and just like energy into it directly without interruptions from other stuff, if that would hook me a little bit more. But shout out to that. It's been a fun ride so far. Sifu was a blast. Very difficult. But man, Sifu was an adventure, for lack of a better term. A really good time with Sifu, and very rewarding once we did eventually beat it. Horizon Forbidden West came out. Whole reason I got a PS5. Have I played much of it? Whoops, no. That's one I got to get back into. I'm currently replaying through Horizon Zero Dawn. Kind of took hiatus from that as well. I had beaten it before on stream, but I wanted to revisit it, kind of refresh myself with the story. But I am looking forward to diving back into Forbidden West with a little bit more knowledge of the backstory. It's getting a little bit more exciting than just being like, brother, I know nothing. Elden Ring came out. Probably everybody's game of the year this year. It's on my shelf. It's unwrapped from its packaging. I definitely have thought about this game a lot, and hearing people's obviously experiences with it. Obviously, Soulsborne's game's a lot of hit or miss amongst players of difficulty. I want to give it a try, just haven't yet. Hopefully before the year ends, so I can give it a proper opinion once it comes to game of the year and stuff like that. But eventually. Into March. What do we have in March that we played? Oh, WWE 2K22. Probably the best wrestling game in quite some time from a WWE standpoint. I don't want to hear it about Fire Pro Wrestling and any other games. Fire Pro is really cool, has a lot of customization. Personally, not my jelly, nor my jam. But from a WWE standpoint, 2K22, I think, is a great game. They fixed a shit ton of their problems from obviously previous iterations. 20. GM mode making a return. I'm personally have had a lot of time in GM mode, whether it's myself or with Papa Griff. A lot of fun times there. The flexibility of the obviously the community creations, everybody being fantastic creators over there, but then the flexibility of taking those creations with custom renders, adding them to GM mode, just kind of adds its constant addition of content through the community. Obviously not the developers, but it's giving that game longevity. The previous titles I played for maybe a month or two tops, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. With 22, with GM mode, this has been a constant thing. Just I'm playing. Not every day, but at least in the rotation. Haven't put a lot of time into My Rise, the like create a superstar story mode. I should. I hear it's good. Showcase was not great, but I'm excited for more from 2K. Hopefully 23 keeps up the positive trend. Hopefully they don't fall into the problem of an every year release again, because obviously this one had a 2-year development cycle that I think really benefited from, or that it benefited from. So hopefully they don't fall back into that problem area, going back year to year, but we'll see. Time will tell. Tunic dropped. Tunic was fun. Another hard one. On one I need to go back to, but very cute. I love the art style there. Ghostwire Tokyo. Surprisingly fun gameplay. I know I was a little bit hesitant from their second trailer. Another one I need to dive back into. But from what I had played on stream, thumbs up from me. Very interesting. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, more Borderlands, for good or for worse. What's the phrase? I don't know. For better, for worse. Jesus, thank you. For better, for worse, more Borderlands. Probably not what I was expecting. Like, obviously, I was expecting Borderlands, but I was hoping for something a little bit more different than. It just fell right back into, like, this is Borderlands 3, which isn't a bad thing, except for, I guess, the gameplay loop. Maybe I've outgrown that gameplay loop. I don't know. April. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Only played that for a hot minute, but I've heard great things. Looking forward to diving back into that at some point. Oh, this is when Nobody Saves the World came out on console. My bad. Stanley Parable everybody was talking about. I did not play. Wow, not a lot in April. At least for me. Alright. Moving to May. Among Us. Unpacking came out on PS5 and PS4. Fantastic game. Very chill. Short experience, but very rewarding. I would give that a very high score. Evil Dead, the game came out. I know Jeff Reg. Another shout out to him. Enjoyed that game a whole lot. Wants me to play it, but I have not with him. But seemed fun for the people that I have watched play it. Over to June. Let's see. Mario Strikers. Oof, watch that. That wasn't great. The Quarry. Watch that whole playthrough. Solid story there. Don't think I'll play it myself, but a good time. TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Fun beat 'em up. 6-player thing. Haven't tried that out. I wish there was a little bit more, I guess, to do in that game. More collectibles and whatnot. I get it, it's the arcade experience, so it is fun for that audience. Relatively short game, but a good time nonetheless. Fall Guys became free to play. Been diving back in Fall Guys a hell of a lot, not gonna lie. With that, Cuphead DLC finally dropped. Have not played that yet, but seems like that was a good time. So now we're getting into what is coming out that I'm looking forward to. Obviously, the front half of the year, I talked about a decent amount of games. This is good. This is bad. But yeah, what's the stuff I'm looking forward to playing and seeing how it plays out? Some early ones. If we're talking about nothing here in July is catching me. And granted, there's probably games on this list that it's missing. Oh yeah, it doesn't even have Stray on here. Okay, so yeah, Stray would be one that I'm very excited to be playing. As of recording comes out tomorrow. You're a stray cat in like a dystopian future. Seems like it's getting a lot of good praise right now, some decent reviews. Shorter experience from what I can tell, which isn't a bad thing, to be honest. I kind of like hearing about that. As long as obviously you feel like you're getting your money's worth, that's the main thing. That's good. But it's nice to know, like, okay, you're not going to have to spend 60 hours in this game to see the end of it. It's a little nice to know that the end is near, or the end is in sight. It's a nice, concise story with a wrapped bow on it. Looking forward to trying that out on stream or off. Just seems silly. I remember some friends like Billy, John, and Dio were talking about it in the group chat way back when, I don't know, it was a Facebook video or something was going around showing it. And then to see it actually announced at either Game Awards or E3, and then now it's becoming a thing. I'm just excited to see what it's all about. And another one, indie title that I'm really looking forward to, actually was fortunate enough to play the demo of it, is Cult of the Lamb. Devolver has made this one, and it just seems it's like a weird combination of like a roguelite and like a Stardew Valley almost. Very cute art style, very twisted in what they're doing in the storytelling for how cute these characters look. But excited to play that. That's out on August 11th. Already pre-ordered it and ready to go. Excited to dive into that. The demo was pretty fun. I only did like maybe 1 or 2 attempts at it. I just want to see the tip of the iceberg. I didn't want to dive too much into it and kind of be like, okay, I got the whole experience here, which obviously no, I couldn't, but I didn't want to spoil it per se by doing so much research beforehand, and then when it does eventually come out, it's like, oh yeah, I already had seen all this. I felt like I had kind of done that a little bit back in the day with Arkham City, just like, oh my god, every cutscene, everything I was like absorbing, just, and then when it came to it, the game was still fantastic, but at least early on, I was like, I've already seen this. I've already, on IGN or on GameSpot or whatever the hell. So, excited to see more of Cult of the Lamb. Try that out. Should be a lot of fun. The new Saints Row comes out. I'm excited. I'm interested. to see how that plays out. I really enjoyed Saints Row 3. Saints Row 3. That was my first one. I enjoyed the balls to the wall comedy. And it continued in Saints Row 4. 4 was okay, where it went, was the superpower route. It kind of took away from a lot of the gameplay, like the cars, the vehicles. You don't need them if you're able to jump and super speed your way around. So it felt like all of those things were unnecessary. But 3 was fantastic. It seems like this is a reboot here. I don't know if they're still going the comedy route. Obviously, the character creator is still insane. But I'm not sure if they're trying to kind of wrangle it back in. And if that is the case, I don't know if I'll be interested into it. And then the last one, I guess, for at least August, Destroy All Humans Part 2. I still need to play the remaster of 1. But just excited that they have decided, hey, 1 did really well. Let's continue with these remasters of those games and give them a chance. Because I never played... I think I played a little bit of 2 at a friend's house. One day hanging out. But I've never fully dove into 2's story. So I'd be interested in giving that a try and seeing how it plays out. September, Last of Us Part 1 gets its remaster. Cool and happy for those fans. Splatoon 3. This will be my first Splatoon actually actively playing when it fucking launches. And now having a Switch, I'm very excited for Splatoon 3. Splatoon 1 was a lot of fun, and Splatoon 2 from the experiences they had with friends, bringing over their consoles that had it. A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to playing this, like I said, and owning it myself as a player. Should be a blast. I don't need to see much of that game. Obviously, the game speaks for itself in its gameplay, so looking forward to that. Should be a fun dive into. So that's really it for September. Moving on to October, Overwatch 2. Okay, so Overwatch 2. Funny, I had a very short and brief conversation with somebody about this today. I haven't signed up for the betas. I have watched some of the multiplayer footage. Cool to know that multiplayer is free. Obviously some changes coming in there. Obviously some characters getting some different moves. And those things adjusted. The teams being adjusted from 6v6 to 5v5 to me is kind of like a little bit of a down thumb. Granted, I never played with a full team of 6, other than obviously random assignments. So it's not that's the problem. It's just I never found a big issue with the double shield meta that they're trying to prevent. It just seems like those people who do play tanks all the time, you're limiting them because obviously it's only one tank per team now. So that kind of sucks. But I am excited for whatever single player stuff they are diving into when this game does eventually release. Obviously, I'm looking forward into the multiplayer. I took a big hiatus from Overwatch 1 after some time. Got back into it recently and just kind of fell right back into the groove. Unfortunately, its queuing system I don't care for because, like, I never get to play certain roles, and obviously if you want to play damage and you only queue damage, like, you're going to be waiting some time because everybody and their mom wants to play damage. It seems silly, but I kind of like the little bit more of, like, the rapid pick of whatever you want it to be, and if you get it, you get it. You don't, oops. But I guess this prevents the rage quitters of just leaving, is queuing up for the certain roles. But I just feel limited as a player. Like, even if I queue up to be a flex, to be everything, 99% of the time I'm going to be a healer or I'm going to be a tank. Very rarely am I going to get the chance to play, Widowmaker or Ashe, which obviously I love playing, but when you play them far and few between, it's hard to shake off that rust and be decent at them, I feel. So I understand logically why the queuing system is there. As a player, I don't feel... It doesn't entice me to keep playing. If I can't play these characters I want to, it sucks. Granted, I could go into arcade mode, I could go into these free plays, but then the team balance doesn't mean anything. And I was like, ugh. Like, I wish, like, keep those systems for your ranked modes, but the regular mode, have it be like the quick choose or whatever. Don't have me queue in as a certain role. I feel like there's enough people that are in those lobbies that if you need to fill, you can fill, because people are like, I didn't get my character, which I guess is what I'm doing right now. But if it was that, I would feel a little bit more like I had a chance to get him. Like, didn't get him this time, instead of forcing me out of it. I guess technically it is the same. Whatever. I'm bitching. Excited to see the single player stuff. Blizzard really needs to fix their shit internally, and hopefully Xbox can do that. Fuck Bobby Kotick, I'll say that. Excited for Overwatch 2. Hopefully it's good. Marvel's Midnight Suns, looking forward to that. Looks very enticing and exciting from the CG trailers, but then again, CG trailers. I think there's gameplay out there. I need to look into it and watch it. It sounds like it's turn-based, which kind of has me a little bit down. But if it's fun, then I'm in. Because I do like turn-based stuff. But I guess this is kind of similar to XCOM, which from me watching gameplay-wise, I'm like, yeah, that's not my cup of tea. But it seems like they got a lot of cool characters in there, which has me intrigued. Hopefully the gameplay's fun. Like I said, I need to do a little bit more research into it to actually see what it's like. And then on the other side of the superhero coin, Gotham Knights. Excited for more Arkham-style games. I know it's not Rocksteady, but excited to dive in as Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Red Hood. Dive into that story and see what that team has come up with. Going into November, God of War. What an announcement, God of War. Blog posts. No, I'm stoked for God of War, seeing where that story continues. Obviously, a lot of people have some theories of what they think will be going on in that game. I don't know. I'm just looking forward to more God of War. Obviously, God of War 2018 was fantastic. Story was great. I'm not going to put any spoilers or say any spoilers for that. If you haven't played it, fucking play it. Really good experience there. Whether it was the main story, whether it was the side stuff, the Valkyries were a challenge, but they were a fun challenge. So exciting. I gotta stop saying that. Excited to see where Ragnarok goes, especially exploring the Norse mythology. You got the little tease of some characters in the first one, so excited to see where that goes. and dive into that head on. So that pretty much blocks out the list here for Game Informer. There's some December stuff. Callisto Project Protocol, I'm looking forward to watching, but I don't think I'll be brave enough to actually play. And then they do have some stuff that's to be announced. That obviously we don't know exactly when these things will be released. Let me scroll through them really quick to see if there is anything that does catch my eye. Oh, Hogwarts Legacy. I didn't think I would be excited for that, but seeing their big like PlayStation showcase for that does look like a lot of fun. I'm excited to hop into that world of Harry Potter. Once again, fuck J.K. Rowling. But excited to see what that team has come up with for that. Inscription comes out later this month in August. I know it's on PC. Tried to play it on the PlayStation platforms. Already pre-ordered there. I have watched the game all the way through, but I'm still excited to play this little card kind of card game inside of it and experience the story for myself. RE7's getting like a little bit of a up for next gen consoles. Jackbox Party Pack 9. Ooh. Hello, Extra Life. Yeah. WrestleQuest, I guess, will be the last one. I've heard mixed reviews on that one, so we'll see. But yeah, a lot of games to look forward to. Just more and more to unfortunately add to the freaking backlog of games, which is unfortunately the not the curse, but the downfall of these things. Like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this thing, bro. You haven't played all these other games that you've got, and it's like, shut up. Was doing a decent job at the start of this year of kind of checking those boxes of like finishing games. I will admit, lately I've been kind of not struggling, but I've been slacking on playing to completion. I mentioned Horizon Zero Dawn, that replay. Ghostwire I started on stream, haven't really done with any of it. Haven't done anything with it afterwards. Ollie Ollie World I started. Enter the Gungeon I kind of dipped my toe into. I just gotta get that tunnel vision and be like, finish some stuff up. But yeah, excited for these games. Excited to chat these games with obviously my friends and with you guys as well. Yeah, just looking forward to the future. A lot of good stuff coming out in this year and beyond. Speaking of games, let's move over to topic 2. Kind of a little bit of a revisit from last podcast. Rainbow was on if you guys missed it. And briefly we had we talked about Pokemon. And she had brought up Pokemon games and games that, you know, we enjoyed and our thoughts on that. And it's always the thing with conversations like, oh, hindsight, where in the moment you don't think to talk about them, but then right afterwards it's like the flood of information, the floodgates open up and you're like, oh my god, I didn't talk about X, Y, Z, whatever. So I kind of wanted to revisit this topic as we talked mainly about the mainline Pokemon games, you know, the versions, Arceus now, but didn't really talk too much about the side games or the spin-off games that had released for Pokemon, so I want to talk about those. And I talked about them, Stadium 1 and 2, and how much fun those were. I personally never owned either of them until my grown-up years. I didn't have an N64 growing up as a kid, but whenever going over to friends' houses like John's and throwing in Stadium, it was just a blast. Whether we did play the battles and use like I don't know if there were Dittos or whatever, but like using the stock Pokemon, just picking whoever we wanted, going into battle and playing that way. Or I do remember playing a little bit of the story mode, I feel, at a different friend's house. I think we were like house sitting or something, but I remember playing his N64, Mario Tennis, and some other games I obviously didn't have. And I remember playing the story mode there, and yeah, it was just more of what I had known of Pokemon, obviously, from the main title games of, like, the battles and, like, oh my god, this is the gym leader from this, or whatever. It was pretty fun. I'd like to eventually give it a full try, or at least, like, as an adult, play it and be like, wow, okay, this was good, this wasn't good. Because I don't remember much from a kid other than, like I said, just the generic battles, and then, as I talked about last podcast, the mini games, because the mini games were great, were fantastic. Whether it was the counting the different Pokemon and seeing the CPUs freak out that they counted wrong, or the Hitmontop and spinning and trying to knock people out of the arena, or there was the Donphan race around the track. Just a lot of good times. They were simple, very simple games, but they're entertaining and fun to play with your friends. I remember another great one I talked about, once again, the counting the Pokemon. Another one that my buddy John Vincent and I played a lot of was, I think it was Pokemon Stadium 2, maybe it was 1, my bad. It was a timing game. You were either pincer or you were scissor, or not scissor, excuse me, scyther, and there was a log that would drop from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, and you had to try and cut the log as close as you can to this white line. And I remember us playing that over and over and over again, just competing for who got the high score, who actually cut it on the line. Just a lot of good times, a lot of good laughs shared with those titles. And then Pokemon Snap. I know a lot of people have a warm spot in their heart for Pokemon Snap. This was another one that I had seen bits and pieces of and played maybe the first level. Pokemon Snap is a lot of fun. I was able to stream it, I think it was through the Wii U. Yeah, you remember the Wii U? Played it through that and finally played it all the way through. But seeing the amount of, like, secrets and, like, almost puzzles you had to solve in that game baffles me. Like, how us as kids were able to figure these things out. Like, who was smart enough to know, okay, if I hit this Magikarp at the right point with an apple, it will hit them into the waterfall and create a Gyarados. Or if I lure this Pikachu along this path, it will Electrobolt this thing, which will trigger a light. Oh my god, it's another Pokemon I could take a photo of. And then there's even crazier ones. Like, it just baffles me that kids were able to figure this stuff out. Because I feel like I'd just be like, duh, I don't know, just there's the running through the same level over and over again. I can't find anything new. And I feel like that's almost like my experience with the new Pokemon Snap as well, which was great, don't get me wrong. Another one eventually I need to try and go back to finish. But that one, I feel like with their grading system, you could do certain things to have the Pokemon interact in unique ways, whether they would dance or they would eat stuff, or maybe they would fight another Pokemon. Like, there was a lot of puzzles to figure out in that game, and it was fun to discover. And then with new Pokemon Snap, them adding the variation of, like, obviously your paths that you're taking. You saw a little bit of that in the original, but this one you had a bunch of different paths, and there was different, like, daytime, nighttime, different sequences that you could see. It's just crazy to me, seeing all of that. And, like, I don't know how people find every little thing, because you're, like, almost hectic with the camera looking every which way, especially when you've played that level over and over and over again. You're like, there's something here, it says it in this stupid collecting thing. But that was a fun experience for what it was. I know it didn't tick the box for everybody based on the original, but personally I enjoyed new Pokemon Snap quite a bit, and it looked beautiful. What else was there? Oh, one that I surprisingly, like, really, really loved as a kid, it was on Game Boy Advance, was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And it was like this... Was it Rescue Dungeon? I don't know if they call that. Essentially, the story was you as a human got turned into a Pokemon based on some like personality questions, and you were trying to, I think you were trying to turn back into human, but what you did was you found an ally, once again based on personality questions, and you were going around and just rescuing and saving other Pokemon that just happened to be in trouble. So you would go through these dungeons, you would fight different Pokemon, you would find treasure, and eventually you would like recruit more and more Pokemon to your team. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the story that they were telling in that game. Obviously enjoyed the collection aspect from like, oh, there's this Pokemon in my village now, or he's on my team, and it was just rewarding. And eventually, like, they did have sequels. I don't think I ever delved into the sequels, but eventually they did make a remaster on Switch of the original. And I've only played a little bit of it, but as far as I've heard from the general public, didn't perform super well. And, you know, from what I had played the little bit, it might have been... I don't know if I gave it a fair enough chance, or if it was like, I've grown out of this. Wasn't the best to me. I don't think it was like a rose tinted glasses or anything like that. Obviously, I think the experience I had when I was a kid was really, really good. I just don't know if it aged super well for maybe me. But it's another one that I feel like I've like scratched the surface with, and maybe if I gave it a little bit more time and dedicated to it, maybe I'd get a little bit more of a rewarding experience out of it, or that nostalgia experience that I originally had felt when they announced the remaster. What else is there for Pokemon games? Obviously, there's a bunch. You have the Pokemon Cafe game with Eevee. You got Pokemon Pinball. You got, there's that other N64, like, puzzle match-em-up game. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I would say, for the most part, those games have been a lot of fun. Obviously, the appearance of Pokemon in like Smash Bros. Was always exciting. Playing just like Pokeball only matches for the items and just chucking them at each other and hoping you get some good stuff to attack the other player. Just a good time overall. But yeah, I just wanted to put some respect on those games that I forgot about last week. Just kind of give them a bit of a shout out and share my experiences with those games that were fun and definitely earned some respect with the amount of time that I put behind them and played them. I don't know. But guys, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911, usually every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join the chat, join in on the conversation over there if you're a subscriber. Love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go to YouTube and podcast services. The very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. Get all your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today for this video game discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for giving it a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.